acelerado para salir de la tormenta.
Sí, pues mira la tormenta.
Para salir de ahí.
Elias Mortensen was no stranger to danger. A polar logistics officer from Norway, he'd spent most of his adult life shipping scientific cargo across the world's roughest seas. Arctic ice, North Sea squalls, even the Drake Passage. He had survived them all. But the Southern Ocean was different. In July 2018, Elias boarded the Alcade, a reinforced research vessel bound for the Ross Sea. It was a mission to resupply New Zealand's Scott Base in the middle of the Antarctic winter. On July 6th, halfway through the crossing, the crew lost contact with the mainland. The last message from Elias read, "Waves are worse than forecast. We're reducing speed." After that, nothing. A week later, a Coast Guard plane spotted fragments of white metal scattered across the sea ice, hundreds of kilometers from the expected route. There were no survivors. The terrifying Southern Ocean had claimed another ship. The Southern Ocean is unlike any other body of water on Earth. Encircling Antarctica, it's the only ocean that flows uninterrupted around the globe. Here, the Antarctic circumpolar current rages west to east, a river of water 13,000 miles long, circling the planet at up to 300 million cubic meters per second. That's more than 100 times the flow of the Amazon River. Nothing blocks its path. No continents, no large islands, just endless cold. It's also home to the roaring Forties, furious Fifties, and screaming Sixties. Bands of latitude where the planet's strongest winds are born. These winds aren't just fast, they're relentless. They blow day and night, whipping up waves that crash with the force of avalanches. Ships here face unrelenting forces, wind speeds exceeding 120 kilometers per hour, towering waves over 20 meters high, and temperatures that can freeze metal. Weather patterns in this region are chaotic. Storm systems can shift in hours. A calm day can turn into a maritime nightmare by nightfall. Satellite models often struggle to keep up with the pace of change. And the ocean doesn't rest. There's no off-season. This is the planet's permanent storm belt. Waves in the Southern Ocean don't behave like waves elsewhere. They don't just rise and fall. They stack, roll, and twist in multiple directions. Rogue waves appear out of nowhere. In 2001, the MS Polar Wind, a Norwegian cargo vessel, was struck by what the crew described as a black wall, a 26-meter wave that appeared during otherwise moderate conditions. The ship survived, barely. The hull was bent. 3 crew members were injured. One survivor said, "It didn't hit us, it swallowed us." What causes such freak events? Scientists believe the unique currents and underwater topography, vast seamounts and trenches, force water into chaotic movement. These elements don't just collide, they amplify each other. Pressure zones overlap, energy builds until it releases all at once. In 2017, the European Space Agency confirmed that the Southern Ocean produces the largest significant wave heights on Earth. But it's not just waves. Sea spray freezes midair. Ice builds up on decks and masts, adding tons of weight within hours. Once a ship accumulates too much, it becomes unstable, lists too far, and it capsizes. Entire ships have capsized from ice loading alone. There have even been accounts of ships that radioed in their position and status, and then disappeared within the hour, swallowed by a single wave, with no time to react. This ocean doesn't just take ships, it takes everything. In 1979, Air New Zealand Flight 901, a sightseeing tour over Antarctica, crashed into Mount Erebus. Whiteout conditions disoriented the pilots. All 257 people aboard died. While the crash was over land, rescue efforts were crippled by the Southern Ocean's weather. High winds grounded helicopters. Freezing fog blinded rescuers. For days, no one could even reach the wreck. In 2014, an Australian supply helicopter lost power while trying to assist a stranded icebreaker in the Southern Ocean. The crew was rescued, but only after drifting in an emergency pod for nearly 30 hours in sub-zero temperatures. In 1985, a Chilean naval aircraft went missing after taking off from King George Island. Wreckage was eventually found, but not the black box, not the crew. When the ocean isn't drowning you, it's isolating you. In the early 19th century, many ships avoided the Southern Ocean altogether, but whalers and explorers who dared to enter left behind chilling records. In 1823, the sealing ship Jane, captained by James Weddell, reached further south than any ship before it, into what is now the Weddell Sea. He wrote, "The sea was black, the sky bleeding, and the air so still, it felt like we were sailing through death." Many others weren't so lucky. The Endurance, captained by Sir Ernest Shackleton, was crushed by pack ice in 1915. Though the crew miraculously survived, they drifted on lifeboats for months across the Southern Ocean. Shackleton later called it the worst water on Earth. Ghost stories also linger. In 1907, a British trawler, the Valencia, reportedly picked up distress calls near the southern Indian Ocean. When they reached the coordinates, nothing. No flares, no lights, just a dense fog and crashing waves. Years later, a Soviet vessel received a similar signal from the exact same coordinates. Some say it was atmospheric interference, others aren't so sure. Today's ships are equipped with satellite weather systems, reinforced hulls, and advanced navigation software. But the Southern Ocean doesn't care. In 2019, the French research vessel Astrolabe had to retreat after 16 hours of pounding waves left parts of the deck warped. Their emergency beacon was activated not because of capsizing, but because the sensors thought the ship was no longer level enough to float. That same year, a container ship en route to Tasmania lost 31 full cargo units overboard during a sudden storm. Each container weighed several tons. None were ever recovered. Even the U.S. Navy avoids routine operations in these waters. The ocean is simply too hostile for casual activity. It's a region where engines fail, instruments glitch, and humans are reduced to passengers on a vessel they can no longer control. Even automated weather buoys sometimes stop transmitting. Not because they failed, but because something cut them off. Why does the Southern Ocean haunt even modern sailors? Because it is more than violent. It is endless, unpredictable, and cold to its core. There are no ports, no shelters, no breaks in the wind. It is the only place on Earth where you can sail around the globe and never see land. The average wave period, the time between waves, is among the shortest anywhere, meaning ships are constantly rocked. Fatigue sets in. Equipment fails under continuous strain. When a ship breaks down here, no one can help. When a wave swallows your bow, you disappear without witnesses. This is the terrifying Southern Ocean, the final test for even the strongest ships. Some seas destroy you, others hide you. But the Southern Ocean, it does both. It's not haunted, it's not cursed. It's worse, it's real, and it never sleeps. This is Fear the Deep. Subscribe for more true maritime horror. And remember, some waves crash, some winds scream, but in the Southern Ocean, everything breaks.